Wolverine 18. I enjoyed this issue. I'm a little pissed off at Amazon though because when I ordered this, it looked like a pretty clean copy, but now, yeah, I'm gonna have to find a better one, and I'll give this one to my kid as a reader copy. But I wish that they would give you like straight up because that's a lot of spine damage. Regardless, excellent issue, beautiful colors. This is the Wrath of Roughhouse. Now, if you remember, Roughhouse kind of always had that like Samson, really long hair. Last issue, I don't know if I have 17. I'll have to go back and check. We might have got over it. I don't know. So many videos are starting to pile up. I forget what we've gone over sometimes. So if y'all could set me straight, feel free to let me know. This is all at sea. This is Archie Goodwin, writer, John Byrne, breakdown artist, Klaus Yankson doing finishing art, Jim Novak doing the letters, Linus Oliver doing the coloring, Bob Harris, editor, and Tom DeFalco, editor-in-chief from December of 1989. So we've got a big friggin' name cast on this issue. And of course, John Byrne's artwork on display, Wolverine wearing his brown Berserker uniform. You know you're in for a good time. Try sneaking someplace. Odds are, sooner or later, you'll be discovered. This time, luck was with me. These guys sooner. That's how you open a freaking starter book. Now, I know I've said this 6,000 times, but I'm going to reiterate it. Yeah. Here. Whenever you pick up a comic, it should be your first comic. That way, when you dive in, you get enough idea of who the character is, what's going on, and get you engaged enough, say if you're a first-time reader, to want to go get the next issue, the subsequent issues, and also do some research to find out the reading order of what's been going on in this universe. And that's what this book does. You should not dive into a book and not really get any clarification. Like, even if a book's part of a serial series like this, it still should have some legs of its own without having to rely too much. In this one, yes, okay, it's picking up where Wolverine got on the book last issue, from what I understand. And then, even then, okay, so it gives you enough idea that he found himself on a book, someone was screaming. I guess that's where the last issue was. Now, Wolverine's fighting the guys on this ship. And just a great opening page right there. Traditional art coloring. I mean, look at that. Oh, yummy, yummy. Look at all that cross hatching. That's what I'm talking about. And Wolverine just tears through the guys like so much tissue. Better yet, though, this seems to be a U.S. Navy vessel. Whoever I'm fighting hit like killers, not military. To kill them, that might be given no quarters. To me, it's given carte blanche. Suddenly, someone's shouting, first in Spanish, and then these rifles have laser sights. And with their over-eager deck guards, either dead or withdrawing, those sights are zeroed upon you, yes. I would say your position has become possible. Funny. I'd say it just got more interesting. All right, I'm impressed. But what would drive you to put on the clothing of a dead man and come aboard this ship so willing to die? The world knows the X-Men are dead. Is this some psychological trick? A cheap attempt to strike fear by making us believe one of that notorious mutant group is still survives? And so I love that even almost into the brink of the 90s, we still kind of went over with everything that happened at the latter half of the Australian X-Men, where they escaped the Reavers by going through the Siege Perilous, and everyone kind of started, except for Wolverine, he got stuck behind in the hands of Donald Pierce, but Psylocke, Colossus, Havoc, Dazzler, Rogue, I think that, and Storm. I just like how that just kind of continued for a long time, and it bled over into these books. Wolverine, everyone thinks that Logan's dead, so he's able to operate freely in Madripoor. And so Logan comes up against this guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I love how Wolverine just says, maybe I felt it like if no one else was using it, I might as well. Maybe I traded my patch for it. What's important are some purchases you made in Madripoor, along with a shipment of bad cocaine. But a man. Not a swell person, but a good enough enemy that he doesn't deserve what you were doing to him when I boarded. Ah, the screaming earlier from our mutual friend, Roughhouse. Come, join me. My guards will disperse. Perhaps I can ease your fears and spare what remains of our crew. Yes. And so we see that essentially they shaved Roughhouse. And he's like, neither, yes. More disciplined than and more in a more controlled phase of his life. But shading provided a bit traumatic. He's self-conscious about those old scars, perhaps. So along with humiliating the big ox, you doped him into a stupor, used that garbage from Madripoor. The cabin reeks of it. Why? What are you doing down here? Answers old man, or a sudden pain in your neck. Your decision. And so he disclaims. He goes over and talks about how he's working for Tigila Verde. Hold on, let's see. Where is it? Currently, I'm useful to Felix Guillermo Caridad. He's the president of the Central American Republic of Tierra Verde. And they want to build a super soldier for themselves. They don't want to feel like they're on loan from the US military. And so they want to find a way they can make a super soldier serum. But Wolverine's like, experiment on yourself. You already got to start being not quite human. But not at being Iron Man, as you've already so readily pointed out. I'm old. This ridiculously expensive shell, acquired gradually with the cooperation of several governments, preserves my life. Whatever its powers, it was never intended for the constant battle I gather as a superhero's lot. But before Logan can save Roughhouse, we realize that he is not himself, and we get another round between Logan and Roughhouse, but it's not Roughhouse with this kind of more debonair attitude. This is more just a straight up Hulk smash issue. One consolation, my mutant healing factor hasn't been beaten these tranquilizers yet. Gotta be too unconscious. I know when I drowned. So they basically kind of doped up Logan. Roughhouse beat the crap out of Wolverine. And then Logan was sold to the Prince of Madripoor. He goes, where does it say? Better he served as an object for Roughhouse to focus his violence upon than me or my employer. That's why I let him spy on us, taking Roughhouse and following from your island. His future, I leave to you and your men at a price, one that so conveniently duplicates the tribute given to me to reclaim your cocaine. It is still in the bag in which you delivered it, Geist. That's his name, Geist. All relative, yes. Maintenance on this metal shell is incredibly expensive. And so I just love how everything that Claremont set up with the Madripoor era of Wolverine starts to bleed into this book, and it just makes you long for these times. I know that other writers have put Wolverine in Madripoor, but it wasn't like this where he set up shop with Tiger and was part of the Princess Bar, being introduced to Roughhouse. And even before all that, when him, Jubilee, and Psylocke were there when they went to save Betsy from Shinobi Shaw, it was just a time to be alive as an X-Men. Now, one thing that throws me is the General. He has a wife named, I don't remember her name, but essentially her mutant name is Sister Salvation. She's a healer mutant. And every time I hear that name, I just cannot help but think of KMFDM's Juke Joint Jezebel. So if y'all know the song, you know what I'm talking about. So I wonder if that's where they got the inspiration. Probably not, but that's all I could hear every time I say her name. And so the General wants to bring her back as a healer, but she's like, there's too much going on here. And you know that I'm no longer your wife because you became corrupt. But he gives her no choice by doing something traumatic that she holds near and dear. And the other thing about Logan and Madripoor, all the characters that have been introduced through the various writers, Tiger, O'Donnell, and then of course Archie, I love all of them, especially during Peter David's little stint where I can't remember what the arc was. We'll go over it eventually. But yeah, it's just like a sort of a road trip type thing with lots of action. Wolverine having to find creative ways to hide his claws to not reveal to everyone else that he is the Wolverine. And it's just all of those elements that make this particular issue awesome. And what I love is even though Wolverine does have longtime enemies, there are those that he respects, such as Roughhouse, and why he actually said, even though he's a dumb ox, he doesn't deserve what you've done to him, and I am going to save him. But sadly, Roughhouse is not himself. And just seeing the body horror modifications that they've done to him here just intensifies what you are about to read. This is excellent old school comic art and writing at its finest, and I highly recommend that you guys pick up this issue. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics and grab this issue and all these early Wolverine books. They are absolutely excellent. And if you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Madripoor bell, next subscribe. That way I can upload content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel. And I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I will make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading and happy hunting, everyone.